Oh, yeah. Peanut butter cup Dorito sausage car panini. And let's crack a Cadbury egg over the whole thing. Just gonna use my spare glove compartment underwear as a napkin. I can't believe Randy Quaid gets to eat like this every day.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of Singeing with Sabish. Today, Chef Sadie and I will be trying to create an improved Peter's Car Panini from Family Guy. The original sandwich is made up of 4 ingredients: Reese's, sausage, a Cadbury egg, and crushed Doritos. This makes for a pretty disgusting sandwich. This sandwich involves both sweet and savory ingredients, and I think the way to improve it is to take it to one extreme or the other. I decided to try both, but for the sake of this video I'm just going to be doing the savory. I'll be making a second video where I try to do the opposite as well. Now there are 5 main parts to this panini: the seasoning, meat, cream, chocolate, and peanut butter. These are the ingredients I'm going to be using to make this creation. I'm going to be recreating Cool Ranch Dorito seasoning, cooking turkey kielbasa, making a chocolate cream sauce, and using sunflower butter on a fresh French bread loaf. The first thing I'm going to tackle is the seasoning. I'm going to be recreating Doritos Cool Ranch seasoning. The clip in the show is a bit ambiguous, but I'm just a bigger fan of Cool Ranch in general. Plus all the flavors we're going to be using, I think that this will tie it together much better than the nacho cheese would. The recipe for this one is just a 1 ounce packet of dry ranch, a half tablespoon of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon onion powder, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, half a teaspoon kosher salt, mixed with a fork. Let's get a whiff there. The paprika's a little strong, but I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. Next I'm going to be tackling the meat. Facepalm during editing, realizing you forgot to close the cupboard and hope nobody points it out. I'm going to be using turkey kielbasa, half an onion, and 3 cloves of garlic. The onion and garlic are just a personal preference for me. I like to give the sausage some friends to cook with. Plus garlic and onion always make everything better anyway. I'm going to use this opportunity to try out a little trick I saw online to peel garlic faster. Give it a good shake. Oh, it actually worked. I don't have a fancy garlic crusher, so I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. Next I'm going to slice up the onion. I'm going to dice it and caramelize it because even though it's not in the original, I really like caramelized onions. Sue me. I'm going to cut the kielbasa into slices that'll fit nicely onto the bread. I wanted a shape that wouldn't slip out too easily, but wouldn't take away too much if it did. Now I'm just going to be caramelizing the onion, cooking it with a bit of butter, and stirring every once in a while. Grow a beard waiting for the onions to brown, pour yourself a glass of apple juice because you're underage, and get started making the cream sauce. Get 3/4 of a stick of butter, finally close that stubborn cupboard door, measure out 1 3/4 cup heavy whipping cream, take the beard off because it's uncomfortable and it's starting to shed, don't forget to stir, open a new container of cream because you didn't have enough, measure out 1 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, add a little water to the onion to keep it from drying out. Mix 1 tablespoon heavy cream with 2 teaspoons white flour. Take the onions out of the pan and just set them aside for now. Ooh, those look nice. Plop the kielbasa into the pan with all the onion juice still in there. Let that cook, stirring every once in a while. We're going to be covering the cream and chocolate in the next part. Melt the butter over medium-low heat. Add in the cream and bring it to a simmer. Whisk in the cheese, some pepper, and about a tablespoon of unsweetened cocoa powder. Mix it until it's uniform in color and texture. Add in the flour mixture and whisk until smooth, and thicken for a couple of minutes. In the meantime, add some garlic to the kielbasa for a bit of extra flavor. Watch it nearly burn in about 5 seconds, and then add the sauce to the pan once it's ready, letting the kielbasa soak it in. Turn off the heat and move on to the bread. I considered using sourdough bread for this, but I decided to go with French because there were already quite a few powerful flavors going into this sandwich. And last but not least, Peter's Panini had peanut butter. For this, I'm going to slather 1 slice of bread in sunflower butter. It's kind of a strong flavor, but I think it'll do more justice to the sandwich than just regular old peanut butter would. If you haven't tried this stuff, it's definitely worth a shot. Let's get the onions on there. I couldn't help stealing a bite. Love those onions. Now I'm going to smother the sauce on the other side to make sure we don't miss out on the bitterness of that cocoa powder. Next come the sausages. And finally, a generous sprinkling of our Dorito dust. And make sure to preheat the panini press ahead of time so you don't have to wait after assembling your sandwich. Butter the outsides of your bread and sprinkle with just a hint of garlic salt. Once the press is ready, put your sandwich in and squish it down a little. Check every few seconds to make sure it isn't burning. Grow a second beard waiting for this one to be done, because you were too impatient to let the press heat up all the way. Wait a bit longer, and finally it's ready. Take the panini off and put it on a paper plate for some reason, then regain your senses and put it back onto the cutting board, because it's time for a cross-section. It's not the prettiest looking sandwich. The bread really squished down though. I'm glad I used slices as thick as I did. That was hot. This thing smells distinctly like the sunflower butter that's in it. Hopefully the other flavors pulled through. Let's try a bite. It's got a solid crunch to it. It's kind of hard to gauge based on that first one. It doesn't really taste like very much. I'll try to take a bite from the middle to see what I can taste. Okay, now I'm tasting it. Surprisingly, a lot better than expected. The flavors didn't clash at all. The sunflower butter isn't nearly as strong as the first sniff test had me believe. The cream sauce was great, the kielbasa isn't too overpowering, and the onions sort of take the back seat on this one. The strongest flavor I'm getting is actually the Dorito seasoning. I didn't think I'd put that much, but it's definitely present. It seems to actually pull it all together pretty well. I was afraid of the excessive amount of smoked paprika, but it's actually very subtle compared to the garlic and ranch flavors. This was a surprisingly good combination, and I'm glad it worked out the way I hoped it would in the end. I had food just before this, so I might not be joining the Clean Plate Club, but this is definitely something I'd recreate in the future.